What's up guys, and welcome to the video. Today I want to talk about cheat meals and how to set yourself up for success instead of for failure. So if you're anything like me, you've probably gotten yourself into a couple situations where your cheat meal comes and then your cheat meal turns into cheat meals, or maybe even cheat days, or maybe even cheat weeks. So I just want to go over some simple stuff that I've learned over the years that has helped me to stay on track and use cheat meals as a productive tool instead of something that is potentially just going to set me back. So we'll get right into it, right? So the first thing that I've learned is that when your cheat meal is over, whatever you choose to eat, right, it's over. So one, do not bring home doggy bags. So no takeaways, no leftovers. If you're going out to eat, leave it at the restaurant, right? Because what are you gonna accomplish by bringing that food home? You've already paid for it either way, right? Whether you eat it all or whether you throw it out. So the only thing that's gonna happen if you bring that food home is that you're gonna continue that meal. So now your cheat meal isn't just a meal, it's cheat meals or cheat snacks, or maybe I'll eat a little bit more of this, or maybe I'll take another bite. So first tip is just eliminate that possibility, and just when your meal is done, it's over with. Throw the rest out, you don't need it. You satisfied your urge, it's over with, it's done. No doggy bags, no take homes, okay? So the next thing that I'll get into, so number 2 is putting your cheat meal at the end of the day. So making it one of your last meals, ideally your last meal. And this is actually something that I picked up from my current coach, Justin Harris, and it makes a lot of sense, right? So we all know that usually when you have a cheat meal, it might be food that you might not usually eat, right? And so with that comes potentially changes in your hunger. So maybe you get bloated, maybe your digestion is off, maybe your stomach feels really uncomfortable, and maybe you're just not hungry for a long time. Maybe that food is just sitting in your stomach and you're not able to eat anymore, right? So if you have that cheat meal in the beginning of the day, all of your subsequent meals that you're supposed to eat are gonna be impacted. And that's not ideal because, you know, it's a cheat meal, not a cheat day, right? So we still want to get in all of our other regular meals. You should still be eating pretty much on plan or whatever it is throughout the rest of the day. So if we put that cheat meal in the beginning of the day, you're more likely to impact all your other subsequent meals, okay? So beyond that, putting it at the end of the day, what that's gonna do is kind of limit how much you're even able to eat in the first place, because you've already had, depending on how many meals you're eating, maybe 4 or 5 other meals throughout the day, and your cheat meal is your last meal. So how much are you really gonna eat? You're gonna eat to satisfy yourself and probably not really much more. So that's a twofold right there. Just putting it, it's a win for win. Putting it at the end of your day is going to kind of limit how much food that you're actually able to eat. And then it is going to allow you to get the rest of your good food, nutrient dense food in that you should normally be eating. So, so for my clients, I sometimes will put restrictions on the cheat meal, not always. But say I still want them to have their free meal, their cheat meal, but we kind of need to play things a little bit closer. So maybe I'll say, hey, go eat whatever you want to eat, just don't exceed 1,000 calories or whatever the number may be for wherever they're at, right? So within that, number 3 would be have a plan, right? So if you want to play things a little bit closer to the chest and you want to keep things a little bit tighter, or you need to, don't step foot into that restaurant. Don't buy whatever food, whether you're cooking it at home, without a plan. Because once you get into that restaurant without a plan, everything's out the window. You're gonna be like, oh, I want this appetizer, I want this. Everything's gonna look good. You're gonna order it all, and there is no plan at that point. So, it's 2021, almost 2022, right? Every single restaurant has their menu with calorie information and nutrition information up and available. Pull it up on your phone, check it out. It doesn't take forever. It'll take you 5 minutes. Get somewhat of a game plan before you go into the place, and that's it. If you're going to like a mom and pop place or something like that, you can reference. So say I'm going to, I don't even know, like a rib joint, like a local, you know, smoked rib or barbecue joint or whatever. They might not have their nutrition information up, right? Guess what I'm gonna use? Famous Dave's or some other big, you know, barbecue spot that has similar food. That's gonna at least be able to ballpark you. So that's another route you can go with that. So number 4 would be increase your water intake, right? So this kind of goes hand in hand with limiting how much you're actually gonna be able to eat. So if you stay hydrated, it's gonna kind of limit your hunger in the first place. A lot of times when we get hungry, it can be some element of just being dehydrated, right? So not always, obviously, but so beyond that though, when you have your cheat meal, it's gonna be probably in excess more than you're used to of carbohydrates and sodium. And with those two things are gonna come water retention. So generally speaking, the more water that you take in, the more water that you will excrete. So knowing that you're gonna have an influx in sodium and carbohydrates, bumping your water intake up temporarily for that time period or that day can help you to just keep things moving along and help a little bit with the water retention, okay? So number 5, avoid foods that you know cause you digestive stress. Okay, so if you know that eating pizza causes you to shit your brains out, causes you to have terrible bloating, your stomach gets all hard or whatever, just messes your guts up, that's something that you should eat sparingly, because the effect of that meal is not just gonna be for that meal. It's gonna be for the hours after that meal, possibly the days after that meal. So if your digestion is impacted for several days following a particular food that you like to eat, you should really limit that food, because the impact, the ripple of that meal is going beyond just that day. And generally speaking, like, digestion is everything. Like, we can put all this food in our body, right? But if you're not absorbing food and processing the nutrients, it's not a good situation to be in, right? So if it's something that you're eating that is causing you a significant amount of digestive stress, just scrap it or use it sparingly. You know what I mean? Don't make it like your go-to cheat meal. And that's just the situation that you might be in, the card that you're dealt, because of however, you know, your digestive system is. So you just got to kind of weigh your options there. And, you know, if it's worth it to you to be fucked up for, you know, 3 or 4 days after you have this cheat meal, then maybe that's on you. But for me personally, if that were a situation that I were in, I would use that meal or whatever particular food that is very sparingly. So number 6 is use a glucose disposal agent, right? So that is something like berberine. That's just the one that I like to use. It's cheap, it's effective, it's easy to get. And what that's gonna help you to do is basically just shuttle some of the nutrients that you're eating, some of the carbohydrates specifically, into muscle tissue. That's kind of on paper what they say, but it's really a means to control blood sugar, right? So that you don't have these big crazy rises and falls in your blood sugar. It's gonna help to keep things a little bit more smooth and gradual. And I find that when I use berberine with a big carb meal or something like that, I definitely feel like more of the carbohydrates are put into my muscles, if I can say that simply. Like I'll be able to feel a little bit more fullness. And so there's also some really good research behind berberine. You can check some of it out on examine.com. Generally speaking, it's a pretty good supplement. I don't know that I would recommend it all the time as you know, like a supplement that you keep in your regular consumption, but for cheat meals, it's something that I like to do personally. And then the last thing I want to touch on is that the mindset. So I hate the word cheat meal because that kind of puts a negative connotation on it, like cheat meal. Like, you're not cheating on your diet if it's a part of the plan, right? So I like to just say, like, let's have a free meal mindset, right? So where this meal is just a free meal, it's not a cheat meal, okay? Because going into this meal, or rather coming out of this meal, you shouldn't really have any regrets, you shouldn't have any remorse. What I tell my clients is that on your free meal, I don't want you to worry about how many macros you're eating. I don't want you to worry about should you be eating this, should you not. Now, take into considerations all the things that I just said. Maybe there might be restrictions in place for calories or whatever, but generally speaking, I want this meal to be something that you simply don't think about. There's no concern. It's just something that you want to eat, that you have a taste for. That's it. No regret, no remorse, so that you can kind of get that out of your system each week or however often your cheat meal is. If you go into this cheat meal and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna have, a salad or whatever it is, I really need you and I really recommend that you just eat whatever you want that satisfies you. I usually tell my clients, go ahead and get an appetizer, go ahead and get an entree, go ahead and get a dessert if you want. But after those things are done, after that meal is over with, it is over with, okay? So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up everything. Just some points and some things that I've learned over the years and through coaching my clients that I thought might help some of you guys out. So if you thought the information was helpful, go ahead and like the video, maybe share it to somebody else that you think it might be helpful to. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.